everyone. I'm Dan McClellan, e-learning coordinator for the BioNetwork BioEd Center, and welcome to today's webinar entitled BioNetwork's Natural Products Laboratory. Our BioForum is scheduled to run from 1:30 p.m. until approximately 3 o'clock this afternoon. If at any time during today's presentation you have a question, please feel free to type it in the chat box located on the right side of the screen. Now, I'll be keeping a record of each question that is submitted, and we'll have a time designated at the end of the presentation to address all of your questions. And please be sure to send your chats to all participants. We'd like to know who we have in our audience today. There is a poll on the right side of your screen. We'd like you to go ahead, if you haven't already, and select the option that best describes you. And also, so that we can have a accurate record of your participation, please let us know if you're sharing a screen. And there, for question number 2, type of the total number of participants at your location. Now, if you're the only person viewing at your screen, then just type a number 1. And while you're doing that, I encourage you to mark your calendars for our next BioForum entitled Breakthrough in Biotechnology with Orange County Schools. We'll take a closer look at an exciting streamlined program to prepare students in Orange County for careers in biotechnology. Registration is available online at ncbionetwork.org. Richard and Nancy, are you on the phone with us?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Folks, we have experienced kind of a bizarre thing just, I guess, 5 minutes before the start of today's webinar. Richard and Nancy, our 2 panelists for today, are joining us from the campus of AB Tech. Unfortunately, about 10 minutes ago now, AB Tech lost electricity and network connections campus-wide. So we've got both of them on the telephone, and we're going to try to press on. And Nancy and Richard, I'll be glad to advance the slides if you'll just tell me when to go. But at this time, I will pass it on to you, and we'll get started with today's BioForum.
That's great, Dan. Thank you very much. We should be on the slide titled BioBusiness Center now.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Nancy Mikula, the Education Coordinator for the BioBusiness Center and Lab located near Asheville, North Carolina on the campus of AB Tech Community College. Before Richard talks to you about the laboratory, which is the main focus of this presentation, I'm going to provide an overview of the BioBusiness Center and Laboratory and the services we provide. The BioBusiness Center and Laboratory are part of the North Carolina Community College's BioNetwork, and we are one of 7 centers in the state. Each of the 7 centers has a different specialty that is available statewide, and the BioBusiness Center supports entrepreneurs and small businesses in the natural products, biotechnology, and life science industries. The western part of the state, where we are located, is one of the richest areas of plant biodiversity in the nation. The BioBusiness Center and Laboratory has developed expertise in the natural products industry, and we provide a critical edge for many businesses, entrepreneurs, and community partners engaged in growing the value-added natural products economy across North Carolina. Our services include business, education, and laboratory offerings that are tailored to the specific needs of our clients. We frequently work with the small business centers located in community colleges across North Carolina to provide industry-specific insights and services to their clients, as well as laboratory and manufacturing services. Next slide, please.
Okay.
Business services and assistance are available to new and existing businesses working within the regulated natural products and life science environment. We offer free coaching, counseling, and mentoring services and provide referrals to industry associations, organizations, partners, and other service providers. Our goal is to provide assistance to small businesses that help them move forward. We provide support for grants, including who to contact, project review, and letters of support. Center staff also provide regulatory information for value-added natural products businesses, including body care products, dietary supplements, and others. Business incubator services, office space, and wet laboratory facilities are available through AB Tech Community College. The incubator space is available in the same building where the BioBusiness Center and Laboratory are located, and several of the current incubator tenants are natural products companies, including Golden Needle and OrganiFarm. Other natural products businesses rent space on an as-needed basis in the laboratory or contract with us to provide their laboratory services. Next slide, please. The Center's education services cover a broad range of training and outreach activities that foster growth and awareness of the natural products and life sciences industries. Programs focus on developing critical business skills and awareness of regulatory requirements for entrepreneurs and small business owners. Grant training and value-added product marketing classes are also offered. Center programs and events often target emerging natural products niche business opportunities, such as our popular class for prospective and intermediate hops growers that is offered in early March. North Carolina has a growing microbrewery industry, and today the hops used in the brewing process are primarily grown in other states. This will change as more North Carolina growers produce hops. We also partner to create events for organizations, teachers, faculty, and students. This fall, we are participating in a series of Western North Carolina Naturally events with the North Carolina Natural Products Association to increase awareness of the opportunities and resources available locally for growers, distributors, and manufacturers. We have participated in day-long events for faculty and can even provide K-12 teachers with lab-in-a-box kits for classroom strawberry DNA extraction. The laboratory staff enjoys working with students, offering career counseling and intern opportunities when possible. Our most recent intern, Summer Cortinas, was in her final semester of the biotechnology program at AB Tech. She assisted on several lab analysis projects in the laboratory and also conducted micropropagation experiments for some plants of interest to our clients. She was successful in getting multiple plant species into culture. Next slide, please. BioBusiness classes are offered at AB Tech Community College, and some of them are available at community colleges across North Carolina. The current Good Manufacturing Practices is a 2-day hands-on class that is offered at least once a quarter at AB Tech. For the past 2 years, we offered a 2-year grantsmanship training class sponsored by a grant from the North Carolina Biotechnology Center. The class was offered at 4 different community colleges each year and introduced new and experienced grants writers and economic developers to the numerous grant opportunities available to support the life science industry in North Carolina. The class provided tips and techniques for writing an effective grant, planning a project for success, and how to effectively partner to achieve goals. Our current business class offerings support value-added manufacturers in entering the retail and wholesale markets with their products. Next slide, please. Our current Good Manufacturing Practices, the Botanical Dietary Supplements class is offered every quarter and provides important information for manufacturers of dietary supplements on the GMP requirements in the FDA 21 Code of Federal Regulation, Part 111. This unique hands-on class is tailored to the needs of startup and small manufacturers who need to comply with these regulations. Participants are encouraged to ask questions and share their experiences. The topics covered include botanical identification and organoleptics with practical how-to tips, terminology included within the code, examples of the required documentation throughout the manufacturing process, including packaging and quality control, are presented. Manufacturing facility, equipment, maintenance, and quality practices are discussed. These classes are typically small, which encourages discussion and fosters understanding of the complex compliance requirements. Examples are used to illustrate the required documentation, and generic templates that can be tailored to the entrepreneur's needs are provided. A highlight of the class is the hands-on session where students prepare an herbal tincture in the natural products manufacturing facility using GMP procedures and documentation, followed by a tour of the laboratory. Next slide, please. And now Richard will talk to you about the laboratory.
Thank you, Nancy. My name is Richard Gualandi. I'm the technical specialist here in our Natural Products Lab. I'm going to talk to everybody a little bit today about our laboratory, some of its capabilities, and some of the services that we offer to our laboratory. We maintain a specialty capability working with botanical analysis, so that would be analysis of plant tissues. We do and can often go beyond that specialty depending on client needs and industry demand. Our laboratory was originally conceived with the intention to provide testing and other resources for a growing herbal and natural products industry here in western North Carolina. But as it's evolved, we've actually broadened our capabilities, and we now work with clients well beyond our region and work outside of that niche that was originally mentioned. One unique capability of our lab is we actually offer rentable space. So this is an atypical resource that we're able to offer for clients. We also offer analytical services and consultations. The lab is well equipped. We have an extensive inventory of equipment, supplies, reagents, and standard reference materials that we have on hand. We also have a safety and quality focus, follow a good laboratory practices framework, or GLP as it's known. These would typically involve safety and procedural documentation, periodic safety training and inspections, as well as regular maintenance procedures on our equipment. We also have laboratory quality procedures in place, which ensures for a consistent quality of our data for the clients. We also, as I mentioned, have a focus on safety, so we're fully equipped with all the personal protective equipment and other safety equipment that you need for a safe laboratory working environment. Next slide, please. Before I move on, actually, I did want to mention a couple other things about our full-time staff. We have a very well-qualified technical staff with backgrounds in biotechnology, biology, and plant science. We're able to carry out contracted analyses and also help clients with various other needs that they may request. The lab has broad capabilities that allow us to kind of work outside of our specialty, and that offers a lot of opportunities for businesses and individuals. We have a full wet lab facility, including fume hoods, chemical-resistant surfaces, proper chemical disposal facilities, also various glassware and other personal protective equipment. And it also offers us a full range of basic laboratory functions, even beyond what we typically do. Our real specialties are phytochemical extraction and constituent analysis. So these would be plant-based chemicals. We have on hand a large list of various solvents and equipment that we would use for extraction and concentration techniques. It allows us to actually target and extract a wide range of different chemical classes. We also have several techniques that we use for actual analysis of the constituents in these extracts, including HPLC, or high-performance liquid chromatography, GCMS, gas chromatography, mass spectrometry, and we also use UV spectrometry, just depending on client needs and what we need to do for the particular analysis. Having these kind of broad capabilities allows us to really offer a wide range of analysis for various needs that clients may come to us with. We also have an aseptic workspace. We have a biosafety cabinet, as well as other sterilization equipment that would allow for clients or ourselves to work with certain microbial or cell cultures or other specialized processes that would require a clean environment. The lab also has an incubator and grow chamber, which may be useful for various needs. All of these capabilities make our lab really well suited and very specialized for natural products research and development. Between the skill sets of our staff and the capabilities of the equipment, we're really able to offer a great resource for various research and development, people inside academia as well as business and other industry needs. So moving on to some of our specific services, which you'll see on screen right now. Most of what we do, we offer a lot of analytical testing. So these would be needs that various clients would have. They bring us samples and we're able to process them and actually provide them results. One notable thing I'll mention briefly is our HPLC system, which is kind of our workhorse. We have a dual system, so we're actually able to run multiple samples using multiple methodologies at the same time. We have various detection capabilities with this system, including ELSD, which is also known as evaporative light scattering detector. We have 2 UV detectors. We also have a mass spectrum detector. And combined, this system really allows us a lot of versatility and adaptability to be able to work within the needs of our clients. Other services that we offer are method development, product development, and testing. And I mentioned previously that we have a rentable laboratory space, and we really try and keep a focus on affording these services, or providing these services, excuse me, at a very affordable rate with a really fast turnaround and excellent customer service. So we try and keep the focus on client needs, and we're not trying to make a profit, but we're just trying to cover costs and provide services that will allow businesses to grow. Next slide, please. So you should see on screen now a list of the equipment that we have on hand in our lab. And I'm not going to focus too much on any particular equipment, but I would refer you to North Carolina BioNetwork.org, ncbionetwork.org. The guys at the Bioeducation Center have done a really great job at putting together some e-learning tools that can tell you a lot more about these different pieces of equipment and what you can use them for and how they work. So I won't spend too much time on that, but if you have questions about that, I would really encourage you to check out ncbionetwork.org. And if you have specific questions about what we can do with this equipment, feel free to contact us and we'll be able to answer some more of those questions for you. At the end of the presentation, there'll be some contact information. Next slide, please. And here's just a quick slide to show you visually the email address for ncbionetwork.org. Again, check out their e-learning tools for any questions you might have about equipment. Next slide, please. Okay, so our analytical testing services, as I mentioned before, one of the main things that we do is constituent analysis, and we do have a specific focus and specialty area with medicinal plants. However, we tailor a lot of our analyses to specific client requests and industry trends. So most of what we have in place was actually developed for specific clients having specific needs. However, we are in the process of developing several new methods that are kind of anticipating current trends that will be coming up in the industry. Our constituent analysis will offer precise qualitative and quantitative analysis for known constituents. Our clients will typically use these services to verify their labeling claims, check on the quality of raw materials, or potentially for research and product development. We also have some broader tests in place that are kind of intended to offer an assessment about overall quality in various botanicals and other food and beverage products. We'll talk about those a little bit more as we move forward. Another important service we offer is what we call botanical verification. And we're able to compare unknown samples that clients will bring to us with a known verified botanical reference material sample. And we actually will use our HPLC system to compare patterns and distributions of the phytochemical profiles. And this will allow us to determine a similarity between the samples and therefore verify that it is the species that the client is expecting to have. This is actually very important for quality control of raw materials for our clients, as well as verification of their own labeling claims. This becomes important in the herbal industry with some of the concerns about where your source material is coming from and potential adulterants that may be part of that. We also offer some laboratory consultation services. If clients need advice or guidance on potential analyses they may need, we can often help them determine what it is they need and whether or not we can provide that for them. If we can't, we can often offer referrals to other resources that can help them. And again, we try and offer all of our analytical testing services at very reasonable rates. We have a per sample rate, which allows you to pretty much know exactly what to expect when you come to us. We also charge for standard reference compounds at cost, which can be a great resource. These compounds can be very expensive, and most commercial labs will actually mark them up and create a profit opportunity. And we're not trying to do that. We just want to help businesses get what they need. Next slide, please. So on screen, you'll notice some of our specific medicinal plant constituent tests that we have in place. Each one of these is going to be focused on very specific constituents that are known to be part of the plant, that are either known to be bioactive or have interest for other particular reasons. We've got listed on the slide some of the classes of chemicals that we look for in these plants. If you have interest in the very specific compounds that we can look at, again, contact us and we'll be able to provide you all that information. Next slide, please. This is just a continuation of the list of tests that we have in place. We have several others that are actually in development right now. There's probably a list of nearly 25 that we're actively working on. So if you don't see something you're interested in these lists, or if you have questions about whether or not we may have something in development, again, just give us a call. We can easily give you all that information and let you know whether we can help you with something. And if we don't have it in place, we may be able to look at putting it in place for you. Next slide, please. One test that we have put into place for a particular client that is a little bit out of our range of specialty, if you will, is a sunscreen analysis. We had a gentleman come to us some time ago, and he manufactures sunscreen products, and he needed this testing done basically to meet his requirements for his labeling claims as well as for quality control of his products. And we were able to look at it. We found some protocols in literature that we were able to put in place here in our lab, and we've actually developed an effective analysis for him, and we're now able to provide him this data at a greatly reduced cost to what it would cost him to go to a commercial laboratory. So he's become a recurring customer now, and I believe we've been able to really help his business along by saving him excessive costs on some of these regulatory requirements that his industry has to live up to. Next slide, please. Beyond the very specific constituent testing, we also have some additional tests that are broader in nature. These are more looking at content of certain phytochemical classes. They're intended to kind of offer some indication about general quality and health promoting properties in herbs and other food products. Again, our clients are interested in this for their labeling claims as well as for product development. We have one client in particular who's interested in a lot of these tests. He produces juices and jams, so he's interested in being able to make some health-related claims on his labels. We've also worked with a client interested in developing new processing methods for coconut oil, as well as some other clients looking at product development for new herbs and various other things. I'll just go through a few of these real quick. Phenolics, anthocyanins, and flavonoids are all they're broad phytochemical classes, and they've been linked to antioxidant activity as well as other health-related benefits, including cardiovascular health. So knowing a little bit about the level of these compounds in your foods or in your herbal products can speak a little bit towards their quality as a health-promoting product. Antioxidant capacity is also a big one that a lot of people are interested to know about. Antioxidants are linked to reduced risk of cancer and other diseases. We actually offer a vitamin C equivalency test, which can kind of help clients get a little bit of an idea of how their product might stack up to a known entity like vitamin C. Brix analysis is it's an indicator of sugar content. It's actually a dissolved solids analysis, but it's been considered as a very good indicator of the sugar content of various fruits and vegetables, and that Brix value has been linked to quality in various food products, vegetable food products. So right now we're working actually with a client who's representing the North Carolina Soybean Growers Association, and they're very interested in Brix values in edible soybean and how different varieties stack up against each other and how harvest times affect this quality of their beans. So they're really looking to optimize their products, and we're able to put that in place and help them with that. Next slide, please. And this is the last slide in our analytical testing section, and this might be the funnest one of all. Nancy mentioned earlier that we have a burgeoning microbrew industry here in the region, and actually Asheville, North Carolina was voted Beer City, USA in both 2009 and 2011. So we've got the beer brewing industry in place, and as she mentioned, there's a lot of push to try and get the hop supply in our area to actually feed this industry. And one of the hurdles that they had was that they didn't have any capability to test their product before they sold it to the brewers. And the brewers were real interested in the levels of what we call alpha and beta acids. They need to know those levels for their recipes. So the growers were able to produce the hops, but they didn't have a resource that could allow them to get those numbers as they sold their hops to the brewers. So we've put in a test in place for alpha and beta acid content, and we're able to provide that data for the growers, which helps them market and sell their product more effectively to the local industry. We've also done a little bit of direct analysis on some of the beer itself. Generally, the breweries do their own testing, but we had a client who wanted to use one of our local products in a shampoo and conditioner line that he wanted to put together. I haven't tried it, but they say that the proteins and B vitamins in beer are actually great for your hair. So if anybody wants to try it, the product name is called Brew, B-R-O-O, and the gentleman needed some testing on his raw materials, and we were able to provide the testing that he needed, and he's moved forward and actually put his product in the market, and it's apparently been pretty successful. Next slide, please. Another set of services that we offer is method development. This was touched on briefly earlier, but if we have specific clients that come to us and have requests for various analyses, we'll take a look at it, and if we can put it into play and make it work for them, we'll do that. Our method development typically is going to support researchers. We've worked with university researchers and extension people. We've also worked with businesses and other industry organizations. It also will support product development, so some folks will come to us and say, I'd really like to learn this about a particular herb or other food product, and we'll look at whether or not we can put that test in place for them. And another big one is for regulatory requirements. A lot of the testing that folks need actually is to comply with federal regulation for whatever product it is they're producing. And they legally can't sell it if they can't have the data. So we're actually able to produce some of these tests for them and provide that data so they can comply with the regulations. Again, we try and offer this service at very reasonable pricing. We have an initial feasibility fee that will cover up to 4 hours of research and work on the method. If we have to go beyond the 4 hours, it's a modest hourly charge. And we also do produce documentation, or SOPs, standard operating procedures, for the clients to put in their records so that they have a record of how this data was produced. And again, if you have specific questions about pricing, it does vary from client to client, and for particular projects, just give us a call and we can try and work something out with you. Next slide, please. The third service that we offer is product development and production services. This service is intended to help clients take their ideas and turn them into marketable products. We're really trying to keep our focus on building a statewide industry, and so we try and keep that focused on helping people take their idea, give them resources that they're not able to provide for themselves, and then turn them loose in the market. We do mostly focus on natural products because that's kind of our specialty here. So we try not to get into synthetics and other things that are outside of our range of expertise. But we've helped clients create formulations. We'll help them sometimes choose ingredients, also offer technical advice on maybe the best way to formulate or the best way to mix and process various ingredients. We also collaborate closely with a natural products manufacturing facility, which is housed at Blue Ridge Food Ventures. It's literally across the parking lot. So we work very closely with them, and we're able to send clients over to them once they've worked through the development process. And Blue Ridge Food Ventures can provide processing and production resources, including equipment and expertise, and otherwise through their natural products manufacturing facility. We also have some clients that need help with regulatory issues, so we can offer them regulatory support, mainly by helping them understand the rules and regulations that apply to their particular product and what their responsibilities are as far as how to meet those requirements. This can be a little more complicated than a lot of people think, and that's actually a valuable service that we're able to offer folks. And finally, we can offer some processing and production support to help folks get started over in the manufacturing facility. Once they've got their product in place and have gotten in over there, we actually can spend a little time with them, help them get started, help them learn the ropes, and begin getting their product moving through the manufacturing cycle. A few real brief examples of some of the types of products we've worked on. We helped one fella develop a all-natural bug spray, which he's been successful with and actually has on the market right now. We've also worked on some all-natural hand sanitizers, cleaning products, as well as some personal and pet care products also. Next slide, please. Finally, the last service that I want to mention about our laboratory is that it's actually rentable space. This was, again, mentioned briefly earlier, but this is a really unique resource that we're able to offer. This would be available to businesses, researchers, individuals, anybody who maybe couldn't afford or would choose not to invest in the equipment and lab resources can actually come in and for a modest fee rent our lab space and make any progress on the research or development that would otherwise cost them an awful lot to buy the equipment and have the resources. Some of the benefits are that it offers affordable access to safe, well-maintained, and equipped lab space. The list of materials and equipment that you saw earlier is available for everybody. However, some of the equipment is limited on a background and experience basis. So If you have particular needs about some equipment, again, give us a call. Let us know what you need, and we'll figure out what we can do to help you. All the equipment also has accessible instructions for its proper use. We call this standard operating procedures, or SOPs, and we also have our trained lab staff here that can help you get started and help you work through any processes that you might run into. And again, the rental fees are very reasonable. They're pretty much at cost prices. Consumable materials are charged separately, but I think you'll find if you have a need for a lab space, this is a very affordable place to work, and that can save you an awful lot of money in the long run. Next slide, please. Just some very brief information about the fees itself. They are hourly, and generally it varies by the project you're working on and your particular needs. There are deposits that are charged up front, and these are refunded to the client once your time in the lab or your need for the lab is up. And again, if you have specific questions about that pricing, contact us and we'll figure out what we need to do to help you. Now we're going to take a brief moment and watch a short video with some of our clients that have worked in the lab, and they give some good firsthand experience of their work here at the BioBusiness Center and some of the things we've been able to help them out with.
All right, thanks, Richard. I'm going to put us on hold for just a moment, and folks, in just a second, you'll see the video will launch in a new panel on the right side of your screen, and there are instructions on your screen now on how you can rearrange the size of those panels so that you can view the video. But we'll take a quick break, and we will watch the video now. All right, Nancy and Richard, I think everyone has had a chance to watch the video, and if you weren't unable to see it for some reason, you can check it out at any time on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/NCBioNetwork. So at this time, I'll pass it back to Richard and Nancy, who are so graciously joining us via cell phone today. We appreciate you guys persevering through the technical difficulties. I'll turn it back over to you now.
Thank you, Dan. As a wrap-up, I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about some of the broader issues for both the laboratory and the BioBusiness Center. In addition to the laboratory services that Richard just shared with you, the laboratory staff partners with other organizations. Gaia Herbs in Transylvania County and Golden Needle in Buncombe County are two of our industry partners. Bent Creek Institute and the Mountain Horticultural Crops Research and Extension Center are respected research partners. And we work with the North Carolina Biotechnology Center on grant-funded projects, including the development of the Natural Products Manufacturing Facility and other economic development opportunities. Advantage West is the regional economic development organization for Western North Carolina, and we are currently partnering with them and others on a major grant project that I'll share with you in a few minutes. Next slide, please. The Mountain Horticultural Crops Research and Extension Center is part of North Carolina State University and researches emerging regional crops, maintains test beds, works with growers, and educates the extension agents who work with farmers. Many of these emerging crops lead to viable small business startup opportunities. Examples are Western and Chinese herbs used in the manufacture of value-added natural products, such as dietary supplements and body care products, and hops used in making microbrew and beer-based body care products. Next slide, please. We've mentioned the Natural Products Manufacturing Facility several times in this presentation. It's a new facility that's been open for less than a year, is located at the Blue Ridge Food Ventures, which is a nonprofit facility for both food and now natural products. And it is the first shared use manufacturing facility for dietary supplements, body care, and other value-added natural products in the United States. The manufacturing facility and business incubator combined is designed for new and small businesses as they get started, providing affordable access to commonly used equipment. One example is the bug spray product that Richard mentioned. Maddie Hayes the principals of Maddie Hayes had been thinking of producing this product for years, but could not find a laboratory that they could afford to use. And when they heard that the manufacturing facility had opened as well as our laboratory, they came to us. We helped refine their product formulation, and they have now successfully used the manufacturing facility, producing over 1,000 bottles of bug spray just for samples, and then a second run of 1,000 that's now on the market in various places. This is only one example. There's several others that have already gone through the manufacturing facility, and sometimes the lab services come first to help with product formulation. Other times the lab services come after they've been in production and are looking to refine their product or start developing a second product. New users of the facility take our GMP training class and consult with both lab and manufacturing facility personnel to review equipment requirements and ingredient lists to ensure safety and avoid any cross-contamination with the food products also manufactured at Blue Ridge Food Ventures. Hands-on equipment and processing, packaging, and labeling assistance are provided. Next slide, please. The Bent Creek Institute at the North Carolina Arboretum, which is part of the North Carolina University system, combines traditional knowledge of medicinal plants with validated science. They maintain a germplasm repository for Western herbs that are used for medical and horticultural research, and it is the only North American gene bank dedicated to archiving, conserving, and storing these plants. The Bent Creek Institute laboratories identify and produce research-grade botanical samples and extracts for researchers in the human health and wellness field. Next slide, please. The lab staff participates in many of the BioBusiness Center activities, and these are just a few of the ones that they've participated in over the years. You notice that we were active in the natural products manufacturing facility, and we regularly do outreach of all kinds. Next slide, please. One of these activities that the lab is participating in is the regional grant funded by Golden Leaf to realize the potential of the Western North Carolina natural product industry. The grant is designed to help fill in gaps in this growing industry, providing training to growers and wild harvesters that include good agricultural practices, post-harvest handling, good manufacturing practices, and maintaining quality all along the supply chain. The grant includes funding of a technical person in our laboratory to develop analytical HPLC methods for a list of native North Carolina woodland plants and several Chinese herbs that have real potential to play a growing role in the Western North Carolina natural products industry. The BioBusiness Center is involved in the grant in defining the branding process that will promote Western North Carolina as a producer of quality natural products and value-added manufactured products. This part of the grant provides support for an online marketplace and visual identity. Next slide, please. This concludes our presentation. If you are interested in any of our services or want more information on anything we've discussed today, please contact us for a free consultation. Next slide, or Dan. Are there any questions, and if so, would you please read them for us to answer?
I'll be glad to, Nancy. We have 3 questions, and if you have other questions, please go ahead and send those to us in the chat box. We do have time today to take additional questions. But Nancy and Richard, the first question is, does the BioBusiness Center reach out to the entire state with their natural products laboratory services?
Yes, they do. We have several clients who drive across the state to use our facilities. One of those is Rudy Mullis, who was in the video and talked about his nutraceutical products. So he drives from, I think, almost the East Coast to come and see us. And we have several other clients, and we welcome anybody who's looking for our expertise to do so.
All right, the second question, are there procedures that are used at the facility, or excuse me, are the procedures which you use at your facility, are they GMP approved, and is the equipment validated?
The natural products manufacturing facility does follow GMP practices. So that's going to include the way they handle, maintain, and clean all their equipment. Our analytical procedures are not validated at this point. However, they're all based on peer-reviewed methods that have come out of the literature, and we basically follow those methods as best we can with minor variation that has to do with adapting it to our equipment and our particular processes and procedures that we have in place.
Okay, the third and final question, how many companies have taken advantage of your facilities and services?
We have had more than 24 clients use our lab services, and far more than that have come in to talk to us for business consultation, take our educational classes, and or use the manufacturing facility. And that's been just over a period of about, a few years. And that the rate of usage is growing, and we look forward to working with more small businesses across the state.
Well, thank you very much, Nancy and Richard. Folks who are joining in probably don't know the amount of stress that you've been under this afternoon, but we appreciate you joining us by cell phone since your office experienced a communications and power outage just about 5 minutes before we got started today. But thank you so much again for your perseverance through the technical problems. As we wrap up today, let's take just a moment to answer the brief survey that's on the right side of the screen. Your feedback will help us as we plan future BioForum events. And then just be sure to click Submit when you're finished. While you're doing that, note that today's presentation was recorded so you can view it again, and you will receive a thank you email from BioNetwork tomorrow that will include a web link to the recording. You can find out about other BioForum events by visiting our website, ncbionetwork.org. And I ask you to go ahead and mark your calendar for our next BioForum. The registration for this event is free and available online at ncbionetwork.org. Thanks again to our panelists for today. Thanks to North Carolina BioNetwork for making this presentation possible, and of course our thanks to you for your time and participation. This concludes our webinar, and on behalf of BioNetwork, thank you and have a great day.